Y'all, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Neca Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage Comics Leatherhead figure. This version of Leatherhead first appeared in Tales of the TMNT number 6 from August of 1988. They are a male mutant alligator who was exposed to mutagen while living with the Utroms, who he considered family. He possesses enhanced strength and intellect. He is an unpredictable ally of the Turtles for the most part, and he lives in the Turtles' old lair after they moved out once the Foot discovered it. The box art is pretty cool. It's pretty big because this figure is pretty big, and so it's a little weird because it's so big, but NECA still does a great job always with their box art, and this is no exception, but we're not here to talk about that, so let's get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Leatherhead. All right, y'all, fresh out the box, Leatherhead is massive. This is a chunky figure. Like, you can tell from the pictures that he's going to be big. You don't realize how big he's going to be until you get the box. And even then, it's still a little like, whoa, this is pretty big. And I recall thinking that the Triceraton box was big, but I feel like this was bigger. And at the very least, it felt bigger for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong about that, but it just seemed way bigger. And yes, this is a massive figure. And I am very happy about that because I love me some big figures, some big chonky figures, especially of characters who deserve it, not like the 90s Power Rangers figures. Like I'm not a fan of that. But characters like Leatherhead who deserve to be big and chonky and just like thick. Yeah, I'm absolutely all about it. And I think in that regard, NECA's done a fantastic job here with this. Like, I love this thing in my hands. Just feels so good because he's got such a considerable weight to him that adds to like the terror of what you might experience seeing an alligator standing on two legs with an eye patch and just being like this big. It gives you a bunch of different feelings, and I really love that it all comes together in that way. And NECA is just great at doing that with their toys, and Leatherhead is no exception. There's so many details on all of the scales all over this figure. I love the ridges on his head that go all the way down his back into his tail. And I always love how NECA makes their figures, especially their comic turtle figures, look a little dirty and dingy. And they did a great job here with Leatherhead, especially like on his wraps on his forearms and his legs. They look great. But on this one, it looks like, maybe this could be my lighting right now in the moment, but it looks like my arm wraps are dirtier than my leg wraps, which, given that this creature lives in the sewer, I don't think that that's accurate. But, you know, that could just be mine, and it could also just be my lighting. So take that for what you will. And then the detail on the chest, I guess would that be the bottom of the gator? I guess like his stomach and the bottom of his tail. It looks great. And it looks beat up and just like how he does in the comics. The only thing that's kind of striking me a little weird, and the more time I spend with him, the more I'm used to it. There's something weird, in my opinion, about his legs and how like wide they are and everything. And it doesn't look wrong. I guess I wasn't sure how they were going to do it, and it just felt weird at first. But to be honest, like the more time I spend with it here, I'm kind of getting used to it. So maybe that's just me, and maybe by the end of this review, like that won't even be a thing anymore. But just fresh out the box, just letting you know. So Leatherhead comes with 2 interchangeable heads and 6 interchangeable hands. All right, now let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of Leatherhead. So he's hitting everybody. Starting at the neck, you got 360 at the neck. No problems whatsoever. He can not really look up much at all at the neck. He can look down just a little bit, but not too much. Just a little bit of room. He's got some side-to-side action, actually a lot more than I thought. And so that's pretty cool. And then he does have some jaw articulation, which is neat. But the tongue does not move. At least mine does not. So there you go. You got some jaw articulation. Rah, 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 rah. So yeah, moving on to the arms. The shoulders, mine are very tight, so I'm a little scared to do it. But I do believe that his can go up that just popped. Ugh. I've not been having good luck with these articulation videos lately, so I'm a little scared to press anything. But he does seem to be at the limit that this arm can go up like this, and then he's got 360 at the shoulder as well. He's got 360 at the bicep, and then he's got a swivel in the elbow, as well as a joint in the elbow. I do believe this is 360. Yeah, he gets that. And then he's got 360 at the wrist, as well as a wrist joint there for some wrist action. Moving on to the torso. It's very tight, but he can turn a little bit to the left and right. So I don't want to twist him all the way around to see if he can get 360, but you might be able to do it. But he's got a little bit of give left and right to get him into some motion, but it's very, very tight. And I'm sure you can probably hear that on the mic. But you do have some movement there, some wiggle room in the chest. And yes, that's about it for the torso. So moving on to the legs. His legs can go out about that far. And he does have a swivel there, a thigh swivel, but mine are really tight. And so, and the way the way the figure is down here is kind of tricky to get any like grip on it to make use of the swivel, I think. But nevertheless, you still got a decent amount of articulation down there at the leg. I mean, I think you can even get 360 at the leg. Yeah, there you go. And so, yeah, there's plenty of movement down there, even if you can't fully get the swivel part of it at the thigh, or the, yeah, I guess that's the thigh. And then you got 360 at the knee, as well as a joint there for some bend in action. And then you got an ankle rocker down at the ankle, as well as a joint. And then moving on to the tail, it is segmented. So you've got quite a bit of segmentation going on in the tail, which gives it a ton of wiggle room and movement and articulation, which is really awesome and really cool, and manages to maintain most of the sculpt without, like, I mean, except for like right here. I mean, obviously that's not normal, but he's a mutant alligator. I mean, who's to say what is normal? But nevertheless, this is really fun and really cool, and really helps the figure to stand and balance. And yeah, just a ton of articulation there in the tail, which is really cool. And if I'm not mistaken, that is all the articulation you're going to get out of Leatherhead. According to Turtlepedia, the 1989 Playmates figure on the back of the box listed Leatherhead as being 12 foot and 4 inches tall, or long, I guess, I'm not really sure, and weighing around 871 pounds. This figure stands right around 8 inches tall and is 10 inches from snout to tail. And it weighs 1 pound and 9 ounces. So now let's see how it measures up to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here he is with SH Figuarts Senkocho Seiho Kamen Rider Kuga and Jada Toys Street Fighter Dalsim. Here he is with the Jada Toys Mega Man Cupman and NECA's Sesame Street Ernie. Here he is with Super 7's Donatello and Figma's Samus. Here he is with NECA's Return to New York Raphael and NECA's 1987 animated series Leonardo. Here he is with the NECA Mirage Comics Baxter Stockman and the NECA knockoff colored bandana Mirage Comics Raphael. Here he is with the NECA Bebop and Rocksteady from the 1987 animated series. Here he is with Hasbro's Marvel Legends Wolverine and McFarlane's DC Multiverse Corrupted Superman. Here he is with Jazzware's Fortnite Beef Boss and Mattel's New Eternia Skeletor. Here he is with NECA's Mirage Comics Utrom and NECA's Mirage Comics Triceraton. Here he is with NECA's Arcade Leatherhead and NECA's 1987 animated series Leatherhead. Here he is with NECA's Archie Adventures Wrestling Leatherhead and Hasbro's G.I. Joe Classified Crocmaster. Here he is with DC Direct's Batman Arkham Asylum Killer Croc and Marvel Select's Hulk. So Leatherhead is always going to be one of my favorite characters in every iteration of the Ninja Turtles. Like, there's just something cool about an anthropomorphic gator that is, I don't know, appealing to my imagination and childlike wonder and all of that. They just lend themselves so well to being a mutant. And regardless of if they're good or bad, it doesn't matter. Regardless of if they're trying to do like an Australian accent or try to be Crocodile Dundee, whatever it is, they're still just almost always one of my favorite characters every time they show up in the books or in the shows or whatever it is. And pretty much every time NECA makes a toy of them, I tend to like them, regardless of if it's the wrestling one or the video game one. And then now we have the one that started it all, the Mirage Comics Leatherhead. I remember going through the books on our podcast, Turtle Soup, and just loving every time Leatherhead showed up because he was so insane and just so over the top and just terrifying, despite how the book or the author or the writer or whoever it is writing him, portrayed him. He still has this just like ferociousness to him. It didn't matter. And just part of that's based on his design and him being an alligator. And I don't know, I live in Florida. I mean, I've walked very close to them, but at the same time, I have a very strong respect for them. And so seeing one stand on 2 feet and that could totally run in zigzags and chase me and get to me, something about that's terrifying. But this one is just like the stuff that nightmares are made of. And I think NECA did a fantastic job bringing those nightmares from the page to plastic. And I'm very happy with this figure. As I mentioned earlier, this figure is massive. And I absolutely love that. There's something about having a chunky, heavy, big figure that's in this scale that makes your other figures that you thought were like, I don't know, big-ish, I guess, much smaller. And this Leatherhead definitely has an imposing presence on the shelf. And yeah, I totally love how he kind of just dominates just whatever scene you've got him in. And that's what he does in the books too. Whenever he's there, it's like, oh, snap. Okay, yeah, no, my attention is on the Gator Man, because the rest of these people I could probably reason with, but that thing is probably just going to eat me one way or the other. So like I said, I really enjoyed the size of this figure. I love how much detail is in the sculpt, from the wraps to the scales to the belly to the ridges on the back. They're just all so expertly done. And then the tail is fantastic. The tail is so cool and fun to mess with and really helps to balance the figure out. And then the face is so good. I'm so glad that they included the mouth articulation, because that can just add a whole other level to an action figure. And that's totally true here with Leatherhead. And yeah, he looks amazing. And one of my favorite things about the comic look of Leatherhead and the Ninja Turtles in general are that, at least in my head canon, is that that look can go with a lot of other action figures that we have, because a lot of the action figures that we have are based on comic book characters. So there's a line that's very easily blurred, if at all, with this line of NECA's Ninja Turtles action figures. And I totally love that, because that means that you can have Leatherhead facing off against Crocmaster from G.I. Joe Classified, or you can have him taking on Wolverine if you wanted to, and it wouldn't look that dissimilar, just the way that they do it. And I don't know, maybe that's me, your mileage may vary, but in my head canon, I like to think that I can make that work. And yeah, I just really enjoyed my time with Leatherhead for this review. The only thing that I still find a little weird, and it's probably because of the way he's drawn in the books and then trying to make that into an action figure, is that there's still something that throws me off about his proportions, like the way his arms and legs are aligned with his body. I don't know if I'm articulating that the correct way, but it doesn't look bad at all. And I don't have any suggestions as to how they could have done it better by any means. But there's still something that kind of throws me off about it. And it's not a deal breaker at all, but it's something that, I don't know, it feels like it could have been done a slightly different way. Maybe sacrificing some articulation or something. Not to say I want that, but everything else about this figure is so like over the top and amazing that like I very quickly get over whatever my hang up is about that. I think it's more so in the legs. I think I'm okay with the arms where they're at, but the legs just seem a little too widespread. I don't know. There's just something there and I can't really explain it. And again, to reiterate, like whatever minor gripe that is that I'm trying to explain is vastly overridden by the sheer size and awesomeness that Neca has put into this figure. So if you're a fan of action figures that are alligators, then yeah, you need this. If you collect action figures of anthropomorphic alligators, then this is a no-brainer. If you're in need of a terrifying alligator man to fight any of your action figures, this is a good one to get. Out of all the terrifying alligator men that are out there, this is a really good one to go with. Or if you have a shelf dedicated to action figures with eye patches, then you will absolutely need to get this Leatherhead, and you will definitely not be disappointed. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit subscribe and let me know in the comments what's your favorite version of Leatherhead. And if you want to talk more about Leatherhead, or actually hear me talk more about Leatherhead, you can find my podcast, Turtle Soup, right here on YouTube, where my buddy Ryan and I talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at least once or twice a month, and we've been doing it for years, and we've talked extensively about Leatherhead, and we would love to hear from you, and we'd love it if you checked us out. So yeah, if you do that, that'd be awesome, and until then, else time.